The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the individual guests. If you're a sensitive snowflake that may get easily offended, then turn this off immediately. If you want to hear the real truth about the gun culture, then stick around. This is the Armed Citizen Podcast.
What is going on, my Ghost Squad? Welcome to the Armed Citizen Podcast Live. This is episode number 251. Today's date is, good Lord, Tuesday, July 19th, 2022. Get the old man going here. We are live, as always, on YouTube and over on Facebook. So if you're out there in the live chat, please let us know you're out there. We don't know that you're out there unless you say something. If you're new to the channel, new to the show, well, God bless you. We just we hope to make you a little bit smarter, but honestly, we just hope not to make you any dumber. We can't promise anything. Welcome to the dark side. If you want to call or text into the show, yes, you can call and text in the show. Utilize the Ghost Tactical Hotline presented by our good friends Rod and Shelly Gates over at Aegis Gun Care. That number is 530-364-4678. It is scrolling down below. If you're a veteran, really anybody, but especially if you're a veteran and you're in that hole, you're in the darkness and you're looking for the light, call me, text me, email me 24/7. I cannot give you medical advice, but I could probably be a pretty decent ear to talk you through some stuff. If you are looking for someone that can help you and get you to medical attention, remember two things. One, you are not alone in this fight. You have a lot of brothers and sisters out here that are willing and able to help. And two, the world is a much better place with you in it. So please, please, please utilize the Veteran Crisis Hotline. 1-800-273-8255. Once again, 1-800-273-8255, the Veteran Crisis Hotline. We are spotlighting, as always, the United States Marine Corps. If you have any questions on what it takes to earn the title United States Marine, see the website marines.com. And as always, we're a proud member of the Self-Defense Radio Network. Go check out all the great pro-gun, pro-2A podcasts over on selfdefenseradio.net. Let me get this off of my ugly mug and say hello to some buddies of mine that are joining. So, yes, you did read the title right. I am allergic to shotguns, and we are going to talk shotguns tonight. So, I want to preface this show by saying I have taken Benadryl, and I have rubbed all over some calamine lotion just in case that I break out in hives. But we are going to talk shotguns tonight, and we're gonna we're gonna see where this goes. But no, we've been wanting to do this for a while. It's the only way that I could guarantee that Clover would show up, because King Fudd, it is what it is. But he's going to try to show up when it's shotgun night. But let's say hey to everybody out there. From Flo Rida, our good friend from Gear Report. What's up, TJ?
What's going on, everybody?
I don't know. That's a boogaloo looking little plate carrier you got on there. I do like it. Awesome. It's purty.
Aloha plate carrier, baby.
It's purty. It's purty. With a Night Force hat. That's kind of interesting combination there.
I just grabbed a hat out of the closet. I forgot. I ran in here and I was like, oh, I need a hat. And I've got like 50 hats in the closet over there.
I'm just glad you didn't put the HK hat on. You know, holy hell. Ellis is out there. What's going on, Ellis? Long time no see, my brother. The Outlaw Hatfield is out there. So, been a long time. My brother from like a third removed mother, but you know, it is what it is. But it's good to see Ellis out there. How you doing? So he's with the company, and we're going to talk about EAA that has Gerson and all this stuff. But he's here tonight as a Fudd wannabe. He's I want to say he's a Padwa of Clover. He is a Fudd apprentice, but he has put his avatar as a shotgun from EAA. We've got Chase. What's up, Jace?
What's up, y'all? I did the shotgun just for Clover.
Please don't make his head any bigger than it already is. You know, it's not any good.
Yeah. Let's not take that Fudd stuff too far, though.
Ooh, now Rod did say that an Aegis hat would go better with that carry. It would. The colors would match, actually.
It would. I had to spray. I tested the Aegis cleaner kit with the Aegis hat, so I'm letting it dry. It was a little oily.
And Jeff says that TJ isn't a Fudd. The only true Fudd on this panel is King Fudd, and he is coming now. First of all, that is not an avatar of Clover. That is actually Clover. He will not move for the next hour and a half, whatever. He is a leprechaun. So from the great state of Texas, the tactical virus, I mean leprechaun himself, King Fudd. What's up, Clove?
I'm so excited.
He's been waiting all day for this damn thing.
I do gotta say something though. Chase
Okay.
is by no means a Padawan. He's more like the Mace Windu to my Yoda. Just saying.
Wow. Now it's getting deep.
Yeah, it's getting deep fast.
Wow.
I dig the purple
All
lightsaber
right.
though.
Don't let him fool you. He knows his shotguns.
I might be
he
a
does.
slight shoddy
Well,
aficionado.
he is from the South, so he's got a little Fudd in him. He's got a little. I don't know. Is it Fudd or is it redneck? Maybe a little bit of both.
Raise hell, praise Dale.
There you go. There you go.
That answered that.
Yeah. Now Clover is always riding shotgun with us, and no pun intended for tonight. But since we are always doing this, it's not just tonight, but we always do a shotgun of the week. What is the shotgun? Hey, there's a lot of pressure on this choice, Clover, because we're going to have a whole discussion on shotguns. You better bring your A game with the shotgun.
Yeah, no pressure.
So I know of a cool one, and it is not okay. It could be a Fudd shotgun, and I'll explain why. But I'll tell you what it is first. The Mossberg 500 chainsaw. Now, in and of itself, not a Fudd shotgun, but Google Mossberg steel chainsaw and look at the one that has been painted up like a steel chainsaw, and it is totally Fudd, man. It is cool.
Steel. Oh, that is pretty cool.
Right.
Okay, I'll give you that one.
Yeah.
The steel. When he's saying steel, it's not like steel. It's still like the chainsaw. STIHL.
I'm from Texas, but yeah.
No, I understand.
People that don't know the brand.
That's why I'm. That's why I have to be here as an interpreter for you.
That's true. Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty cool. Wow, Honcho's out there, Jeff's out there, Ellis is out there, Ozzy's out there, Buck's out there, Daniel Macias is out there, Warsaw's out there, Clover's running double duty, G's out there. I think there's a couple more Marios out there. If I miss you, say, like I said, we don't know that you're out there unless you say something, but go ahead and say something. We are going to talk shotguns tonight. And yes, people are going to be saying, what the hell is Ghost talking shotguns for? Well, here's the only thing. As much as it hurts me to say this, and it kills me to say this, man, is this going to hurt? Of all the different firearm platforms, I think that there is a shot that a shotgun may be the most versatile. It can do a lot of different things for a lot of different purposes and all of that. The shotgun is probably, I don't know, guys, what do y'all think? If not for people that like own many guns and have been around guns their whole life, but the casual person that owns one or two guns or so, I would imagine that probably at least half of those people, it was either their first or second purchase was a shotgun of some kind. The average casual gun owner. What do you guys think about that?
Most likely. I mean, one of my, I think, second or third purchases ever was a shotgun, and
a lot of kids grow up. A lot of the folks like myself that've been around their entire life, they kind of start out and cut their teeth. It seems like on a shotgun. A lot of times, at least that's one of the very, very early ones, right? And if you go back and you look historically, you look at all of the, what I call Americana, late 1800, early 1900, which I really love that era. A lot of the farm guns and stuff, a lot of the guns that you could buy in the feed stores and things, right, were shotguns.
Yeah. Now, Jeff out there says he's been a big fan of shotguns ever since Creepy Joe instructed us to fire both barrels out on the balcony to scare off home invaders. By the way, in the leg, both barrels in the leg. So, yeah.
I thought he said up in the air.
But he also said that if you're going to shoot someone, shoot them in the leg.
That's true. Well, what if you don't have a balcony? I've been climbing up on my roof.
Yeah, see, not everybody has a balcony like he does at the White House. Just saying,
Yeah. Wouldn't you love to see a president shooting like 5 stand from the balcony of the White House?
Can you imagine like having like a skeet or a trap machine on the Rose Garden? Pull.
Okay. Rabbit hole. So we know that Joe Biden likes a double barrel. We know Joe Biden likes a double barrel shotgun, right? What brand double barrel shotgun does Joe Biden like? What do you think his preference is?
I'm going to say, man, he's probably got one of the Gucci like $5,000 shots.
See, I don't think so. I think he's probably got like a really old Stevens or something.
I was like a Churchill.
It's an old Fox.
Right.
That's what Corn Pop had.
What?
Yeah. Now, I going back to what Clover was saying about that's kind of where a lot of people cut their teeth is with shotguns. I would say shotguns and 22. Like literally, the only thing that I ever shot before joining the military was a 22. So it was the first thing I shot. Now, I would probably say that most people start out with probably like a 22, maybe a shotgun. But I think buying their first, I bet you shotgun's up there. I'd be willing to bet that people that have multiple, let's say under like 1 to 5 firearms, the vast majority of those people have at least one shotgun in those 1 to 5 firearms. G says his is the Pepsi shotgun in yellow gauge. There you go. Guy out there says just picked up a new to me shotgun, but can't find it a lot. It's a Winchester 1300 Defender speed pump. That sounds like a lot of FUD there. So are any of you guys familiar with the Winchester 1300 Defender speed pump?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Don't act like but of course,
commonplace.
Great pawn in that. Yeah, it's a very fast, like a short, almost like a short cycle action, I guess.
Yeah.
Now, is it? I don't know. Is it really any faster than anything else? It depends on who operates it, right? Like
that's right.
You give Jerry Mitchell a freaking crappy old revolver, and he's going to outshoot everybody, right? So, like, does it really matter? I don't know, but
yep.
But it's cool, and it's he's right. It's kind of you don't see them very often. So
yeah. Before we jump down many more rabbit holes, as always, on Thursday, Saturday, and Monday at 10 a.m. over in our YouTube community tab, we put out our Ghost Tactical polls that we have a good time with, and we have some fun. So let's go over the 3 questions we had for this past week. The first one was last Thursday, and it's got 1.2 thousand votes. Now, obviously, you're going to be able to tell kind of my musical. I mean, I listen to basically everything, but my musical preferences I always kind of go back to certain genres, if you will. Of these, which was the best band of the 90s? Pearl Jam, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Nirvana, U2, or Green Day? TJ, of those, which one do you think is the best?
It was a tough call because I liked them all. As far I went by like some of my favorite songs. I would say U2.
Yeah. Saw Pearl Jam in concert, seen the Peppers, saw U2, seen Green Day, never saw Nirvana. Obviously, they were only around for a few years touring. But U2 was a great concert. And U2, maybe in the 90s, they had, Octung Baby and all that was they had a lot of good music in the 90s. For me, and I still think it's one of the best albums ever, like from beginning to end, is Joshua Tree back in 86, 87. But U2 is a great band. great band. Chase, what about you? Of those 5, do you have a favorite one?
I mean, that's some difficult choices. Personally, Nirvana.
Okay. Interesting. I was not a huge Nirvana fan when they first came out. I was much more Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains, Soundgarden.
Yes.
Really, I was more, Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains. I love, and to this very day, rest in peace, but Chris Cornell might have the best voice ever. And that's the reason why I like Soundgarden. I didn't really like Soundgarden's music, but I love Chris Cornell. Nirvana was probably the last of the 4 groups that I would like, they're good. And then over time, you learn to appreciate them more and more and more. And like, damn, they really worked pretty good,
Yeah, I learned to appreciate Nirvana more. I was more of an Alice in Chains, Soundgarden fan.
Yeah.
And then Nirvana was kind of beneath that, but especially when you go back and watch the Unplugs and some of their live stuff.
That's my favorite album is the Unplugged. I mean, they're doing stuff from Bowie and they're doing stuff. I mean, and you're just like, my God. Like, they can actually play, and they're good. That's the testament. And that's why I love concerts so much. You're going to find out who the true musicians are and who the true singers are live. Anyone can sound good in a studio, but if they sound good live, and let's make no mistake about it, Kurt Cobain is an acquired taste as far as voices. It's kind of like Axl Rose. A lot of people can't stand Axl Rose's voice. I love Axl Rose's voice. A lot of people don't like Kurt Cobain's voice, but when you hear the Unplugged album and it's just raw and it's like, okay, he actually had a pretty decent voice,
Oh yeah, for sure. He did. And I mean, same thing with Lane and Alice in Chains. Like when you hear their Unplugged albums, you're like, holy crap. The people who don't appreciate it beforehand.
I think Alice in Chains, Lane, phenomenal. He's up there with the Cornells of the voices. I think Alice in Chains got a bad rap because they were a little bit different than the other Seattle bands. They were still Seattle bands, but they were more LA at the time. And I think they got a bad rap, but if you start listening to them and you're like, man, they were really, really talented. Love Alice in Chains.
Yeah, more of an edge.
Yeah, absolutely. Clove, of those, do you have a favorite of those? I think I know what it is, but
of those, Nirvana, without a doubt.
Oh, really? Okay, wow. I thought that you would say Peppers. I know you're a big Peppers fan too.
No, I mean, I've got what tips it over the top, I think, for me with Nirvana is just they were instrumental in that era, right?
Yeah.
With ushering in that era, far more so than Chili Peppers. I mean, you look at the clothes people would wear, right, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, if you're about our age and you say that you didn't own Doc Marten boots and a flannel shirt, you're lying. You're absolutely lying. If you say back in the early 90s, you didn't, okay, maybe not. I had many Doc Marten boots. I'll throw the Doc Martens out. If you tell me that you didn't own a flannel shirt in 1993, then you are lying. Just saying.
Brands aside, you
live in Florida, homie. You live in Florida. You never need to wear a flannel shirt.
Yep.
You're muted, bud. You're muted. Yeah. I couldn't hear a damn thing you said.
Yeah, flannel.
Yeah, no, I hear you. No, it's just now Honcho. He's right. He said Nirvana and Shotguns. Too soon? Yeah, that's fair. No. That's very fair. Defense that is ghost skin itching yet. I put some calamine lotion, took some Benadryl. I'm ready to go. Yeah. Like I said, I love all these. That's why I put these. All these are great bands. I will say, U2 put on a great concert. Pearl Jam and the Peppers put on a great concert. I went to Green Day probably 3 or 4 years ago. I've been to hundreds of concerts in my life. That's the best concert I've ever been to. They played for 3.5 hours nonstop. They just played. They came back for like 4 different 4 different encores. Like they got done at like 11:50 because if they literally said at the concert, "Hey, we've got to stop now. If we cross over to midnight, we have to pay for the building for another day." Like they were going to keep playing. And they were playing other people's songs. It was just amazing. I don't know. And I think one of the reasons why is one of the people that tours with him, the guitar player that tours with him, he was from Arkansas. And so that was a big thing and all of that. But I mean, they played for 3.5 hours nonstop, and it was unbelievable. Unbelievable. Yeah, for sure. Jeff saying Alice in Chains. Defense Dad saying Chili Peppers. Defense Dad said never owned Doc Martens. You don't know what you're doing. Now, Doc Marten boots in the Marine or the Navy. Yeah. I think they issued Doc Martens in the Navy, maybe in the Air Force. Needless to say, combat boots were nothing new to me when I joined the Marine Corps. They were a little bit different than the Docs that I had, but I wore Docs for a long time. Grunge matters, that's for sure. And you're talking about them bringing in and ushering in. You know, there were 2 albums, in my opinion, that. And I'm not talking bad about hair bands because there's a lot of hair band music that I actually like. Bands like, I mean, you know, a lot of stuff. If you say you don't like Motley Crue, or at least a few songs of Motley Crue, but you know, you had all these hair bands that were there in that mid to late 80s. And there were 2 albums that kind of took us away from the glam hair band stuff, which wasn't bad, and brought us back to like rock. And that was Appetite for Destruction by Guns N' Roses and Nevermind by Nirvana. And yes, Pearl Jam had 10, and that was a great album. Probably my favorite grunge album of all time is 10. But when Guns N' Roses came out and was 88, 89 with Appetite for Destruction, that was, even though he at the time, Axl, was kind of hair bandish with the makeup and the weird hair, that was definitely not a hair band album. And then a couple years later, Nevermind comes out with Nirvana, definitely not a hair band. Those 2 changed rock for the better, in my opinion. And there's still bands today that you'll hear the grunge influence in today.
And with GNR, you know, after Appetite for Destruction, they had a few, and then they moved into Use Your Illusion. Especially when they moved into that, it was
game over.
Nothing like the early stuff.
No. Use Your Illusion 1 and 2.
By the way,
man, great. Yeah.
By the way, if you're a GNR fan, go watch the new Floor movie. Just saying.
Yeah, I think the entire it's not like it's a big surprise, but I'm pretty sure every song that I've heard on any trailer or anything has been GNR. So Guy says my favorite or the 80s was Def Leppard. I was never a big Def Leppard fan. Don't dislike them. Just was never a huge Def Leppard fan. Yeah, I like a couple of their songs, but like I wouldn't go to a concert, put it that way, you know.
Hysteria was one of the very first CDs I ever bought.
Hysteria is a good song. Like I said, there's some good songs they had.
It's a good album. Hysteria is a good album. One of their best.
Yeah, that was Hysteria was on there. You have
Pour Some Sugar on Me, Love Bites.
That was a massive album.
Rocket. Good. I can't even think of them all right now.
Reese Watson, good evening, one and all from Central Arkansas. What's going on? Welcome to the dark side. I promise if you're here for gun talk, we will get to the gun talk. This is just kind of what we do for the first half hour. We just kind of bullshit and have fun. If you're here for gun, stick around. It'll get there. It may not be great, but it'll be good. He also says he's a child of the 80s, Van Halen, Christmas, and Dallas. So you must be from Dallas. I grew up in Plano. So yeah, that's the great thing about living in Dallas is every major tour went through Dallas, and you get to see everyone. It was great. Rod says grunge was almost the death of music. You shut your mouth. But no, I understand there's a lot of people that didn't. Use Your Illusions 1 and 2 was the last great rock album ever made. Man, that's a strong statement. I'm not saying I disagree because honestly, I can't think there have been some great albums that have come out, but like just straight up, like in your face rock. Pretty tough to go against that. I'm a big fan of GNR.
Coming from a huge Pantera fan, I'm not even going to entertain that.
I understand. I'm not a big metal guy. Like to me, and this is because Chase will know what I'm talking about. For me, like metal is Metallica. Now I'm talking like Black Album, right? So the metal heads are like, what the hell, you know? So I've never been a big metal guy.
That's glam metal.
It is what it is.
Oh my God. No, I mean, but you think about it, the late 80s, early 90s totally ushered in a different era between thrash, grunge, and the really beginnings of what we know, like it's like heavy metal, totally changed the game.
Don't forget hip hop.
Hair was dead.
Don't forget hip hop in that era.
I was just talking about just the rock genre.
And let's be honest about it. In my opinion, that was the best era of hip hop for me. I love that late 80s to late 90s, that decade of hip hop, in my opinion, was hip hop.
I was in a totally different spectrum. I was with the techno, the Front 242, Knights of Red, Ministry,
Front 242.
I was on that end of it.
So you were even in maybe a little bit of New Order, maybe possibly.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah. I love New Order. That's because I went to the clubs, and that was kind of the club scene back in the day. So yeah, I get it. Now someone's talking about Pink Floyd. Whoever's out there has started it, maybe you're in my graces. Everyone knows my two favorite bands in the world are the Beatles and Pink Floyd. So yeah, Pink Floyd. Pink Floyd might honestly, I can't say it's my favorite because the Beatles are just, I mean, I'll always have Beatles around, but Pink Floyd is, it's pretty good stuff. Let's see here. This actually wasn't as close as I thought. And it actually kind of went a little bit differently than I thought. 36% said Nirvana. 29% said the Peppers. Pearl Jam comes in at 14%, Green Day at 11%, and U2 at 9%. So
that's exactly how I would rank them. Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know how I would rank them honestly. But I'm just a little surprised that I'm honestly a little surprised that Pearl Jam didn't get more love than 14% because they were massive. Like people forget how massive they were. You know,
U2 fell off the list immediately for me because I don't see that as that era. I see it before. I see that as like an 80s.
Yeah, no, I get it. The only reason why I put U2 in there is because as much as I think of them an 80s band also, but they were massive. They had Octung Baby. They had 2 or 3 albums in the 90s that were massive sellers. But I still, when I hear U2, I think Joshua Tree. You know,
yeah.
Reese says I worked on the DMT, so Plano's where I picked up Rich Girls. I understand. All right, our next poll question was Saturday, and it's got 1.7 thousand votes. I was in a little 90s mood, I guess, last week. Of these, what's your favorite? Of these, guys, what's your favorite 90s movie? Shawshank Redemption, Fight Club, Pulp Fiction, Forrest Gump, or Goodfellas? Chase, I'll start with you on this one. Of these,
that is entirely too difficult.
I understand.
I mean, Pulp Fiction
I only
is
asked
so
the tough
good.
questions. Oh, it is so good. Isn't
It's still such an underground. Like people are like, "What's Pulp Fiction?" Like that blows my mind. But overall, film,
all of these are great.
I think Forrest Gump, honestly, would
probably. I understand.
And it's hard.
It's hard.
Because I really want to go. I mean, Shawshank's good too.
Shawshank, Goodfellas. I mean, good Lord. Fight Club. I
love Fight Club. We just don't talk about Fight Club.
Yeah, that's right. That's the first rule. So,
but
you're right.
Overall staying power, Forrest Gump takes it, I think.
I think the great thing about Forrest Gump is there are so many little bitty lines in it that people know that may not have even seen Forrest Gump, but they know like stupid is as stupid does, or, run Forrest, run. People still, as Jeff says, run Forrest. I mean, there's lines in the movie that people that have never seen it know it. It changed.
Shrimp gumbo, we got shrimp
Yep.
etouffee, you got boiled
That's my
shrimp, you got
boat.
baked shrimp, you got that's my boat. Another one is Lieutenant Dan.
Lieutenant Dan, you
everybody
got your
always
magic
saying that.
legs.
You ain't got no
Lieutenant
legs,
Dan.
Lieutenant.
I got shot in
I
the.
was-
What does he say? Something.
I
bit
got
me
shot in the buttocks.
Something jump up,
something
bit me in the buttocks.
bit me in the buttocks. I got all the ice cream I could eat. I like the Kennedy where he goes. On the first account because I was thirsty, and then because they was free, I must have drank me about 15 of them there Dr. Peppers. And he gets up there and he goes, "How's it feel to be an All-American?" He says, "I gotta pee."
I gotta pee. The best line, just because of what it was when he's in the black. He says, "I'm sorry for ruining your Black Panther party." Oh, it was great. It was great.
That's all I
TJ,
got to say about that.
That's all I got to say about that. That's my boat. That's my jitty.
Yeah,
I'm not a smart man, but I know what love is.
You do that well.
Hey, it is what it is.
Yeah.
TJ,
It was
a great one.
It's such a tough call, but I'm a Pulp Fiction fan.
You can't go wrong. There is no wrong answer on this one.
I go by like what was on TV. What would I not change the channels? And Pulp Fiction, I wouldn't change channels. Forrest, I would see where I was at Forrest, and maybe change channels. If not, then But Pulp Fiction is.
I want to say, the funniest thing. I wouldn't change a channel on any of these, no matter where it was. Honestly, if I had to say which one I've watched the most, like even if it's not from the beginning, but like watch the movie the most, it's probably Shawshank, because Shawshank's always on. It's on some channel at all times. I mean, it's always on.
TNT is contractually obligated to show it once a week.
I think it is. Yeah, for sure. Claude, what about you? Do you have one?
Man, out of those, I mean, it's almost got to be Forrest Gump, just simply because I quote it so often in some way.
Right. No, I hear you. I would have to say, man. I mean, this is my question and my answers. If I had to say what my favorite movie is, it's probably Goodfellas. If I had to say best movie, it is probably Forrest Gump. It was a great movie. Tom Hanks had a run there in the 90s where with Philadelphia and Forrest Gump, and I mean, he put like Castaway, and I mean, he put like 4 or 5 years in a row, like he was winning Oscars, and he had a nice run there. But I think that even if you ask Tom Hanks, well, I don't know if he would do this, but for me, when people say, hey, we're going to put, because Tom Hanks, let's be honest, probably is on the Mount Rushmore of actors. Let's just be honest. The guy's been there, done that. But if you were to sit there and say, okay, when you think Tom Hanks, for me, it's always going to be Forrest Gump. Some people will say Saving Private Ryan or Philadelphia. I mean, he's been in so many great ones. But when I hear Tom Hanks, I'm probably my go-to in my mind is Forrest Gump. So, yeah.
How long did you sit through Castaway the first time before you realized there's nearly zero dialogue? I went through the whole thing. Like we were on the way home, and I was like,
honestly, it probably took me 2 or 3 times to watch it to realize what the hell, like is he getting paid?
Dialogue.
Like how much is he getting paid? Yeah, how much is he getting paid per word here? Right? Like, hey, Wilson. I mean, up until he was found, it went like an hour with really nothing. But yeah, Warsaw. What the hell's wrong with you? Road to Perdition? Shut up.
I saw Reservoir Dogs, and that's a great
Reservoir Dogs is pretty good. Now there's another good movie in the early 90s, going back to the grunge thing. Did you ever see Singles? Singles was a pretty good movie. Now I don't know if Singles was a good movie or it was just maybe the greatest soundtrack ever in the 90s. I don't know. You know,
Soundtracks help make the movies.
it does. It does. No doubt. 31%. 31% say Forrest Gump. Goodfellas at 21%. Shawshank at 20. Pulp Fiction at 18 and Fight Club at 11. So let me ask you this. I remember seeing Fight Club for the first time. Who here had it figured out before they actually found out at the end what was going on? I didn't. I didn't have it figured out until it was a surprise to me at the end.
I didn't. You
didn't know. Some people said,
I think when I was watching it, I wasn't
the very beginning. Yeah.
No on me.
You knew something was going on in the movie, like something wasn't quite adding up, but I didn't catch that till the end.
That exactly. Yeah. And I'm not going to say what it is for people who need to go watch Fight Club. It's well worth it. But yeah. Yeah. I was one of the people who's like, wow, didn't see that one, you know?
It was like watching the Smack My Bitch Up Prodigy video the first time.
So I remember Firestarter when that video came out. That was a pretty cool video. That's the first time I remember ever hearing of Prodigy at the time, but I was like, oh snap, that's a pretty good song. I'm sure I knew some Prodigy songs, but that was the first one I remember seeing on like MTV and like had a video mainstream and all that was Firestarter. That was a great song. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was Breathe that really did it for him on MTV, and then Firestarter just blew up.
Yeah, that blew up big time. All right. And our last one, going into tonight's subject. What is your favorite brand of shotgun? Now, Clover and I had a discussion on this, and this is kind of a test, a kind of a social experiment. It's kind of a lot of different things. You're going to notice that there are some brands missing that were obvious decisions, and we'll get to that. But what is your favorite brand of shotgun? Your choices: Beretta, Benelli, Browning, Winchester, or other. Let's start with TJ on this one. So you can go other, but do you have a favorite brand of shotgun?
I don't know if I have a favorite shotgun, which is
you have a favorite shotgun. Okay.
Yeah, it's my dad's Remington 1100.
Okay.
So
not necessarily that you think that Remington is your favorite brand, but that's your favorite shotgun.
Yeah, I don't dabble a ton in shotguns. I have a few.
Yeah, I understand.
But out of the shotguns I have, the Remington 1100 is my favorite. So
okay,
I would say Remington.
Okay, so that's a great way to do this. So Chase, I'm going to go to you and say, what's your favorite brand? Your first question: what's your favorite brand of shotgun?
What it's going to be?
Well, I mean, obviously, I work in that field. However, of those choices,
we'll say of those choices. How about that?
Yeah, of those choices. I mean, I'm a shotgun fan. I own several, so it's not like I'm necessarily brand loyal to any of them. I mean, I sell one, and it's a good shotgun.
Yeah,
I own several Benellis and absolutely love them. I mean, can't go wrong with an Italian gun. Of those brands, personally, it's going to be a Beretta because you've got so many options. World's oldest gun maker. They've been building shotguns forever, and they fit me. That's the biggest thing about a shotgun.
Yeah,
it's got to fit you.
Yep. Which of the shotguns that you've owned, or is there? I'll put it this way: if there was one, let's go to Chase. If there was one shotgun out there that you could own that you don't have already, do you have that dream shotgun that you wish you had?
Oh, for sure, absolutely. It'd be a Kohler all around. I mean,
what?
A Kohler all around. I mean, yeah, they're super cheap. I don't know why anybody wouldn't own one. No, I mean that's dream shotguns. I mean, a lot of people say Krieghoffs, Perazzi's, whatever. I've shot several different models. Kohlers absolutely fit me. I want a 32-inch sporting Kohler built the way I want it. I spec'd one out for giggles years ago, and I quit after about 35 grand. I was just like, this is stupid. I'm out.
35 grand and you stopped at that point.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not doing something silly like hauling royal doubles or crazy stuff like that just because you want something crazy expensive for what it is. But I wanted something that was functional. I'd buy it, use it forever, kind of thing.
What I was going to say is so this goes for any of you guys out here. If you were to buy that $35,000 to $50,000 shotgun, like Chase just said, he'd actually use it. Would you guys, like TJ or Clover, if you had a $50,000 shotgun and they're out there, would you actually use it, or would it just be a hang-up piece?
Oh, I would definitely take it to the range a couple times.
Depends.
Okay.
Is it a modern production $50,000 shotgun designed to be used, or is it a $50,000? Listen to me.
Why can't you just quit being political and taking both fucking roads? Choose one.
Damn it, Clover! If it was a 1920s Parker, I'm still shooting the shit out of it.
I would still shoot it. Forced to choose, I would still shoot it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I hear you. Wow. Yeah, it's crazy.
Dream shotgun. Funny. I'm not even close on dream shotguns. I'm like Fostech Origin 12. It's my dream shotgun.
I mean, I'd take one of those too.
Right. I mean, they're Clover's over there cringing like, oh, it's not a shotgun.
Jeff says I'd use shotgun. I'd use any shotgun if Cypress Hill is playing. Okay. Booger out there says Winchester Model 21 side by side. Honcho says H&H makes a pretty spiffy shotgun.
Winnie 21s are nice.
Yeah, Ellis says he's sticking with Mossberg. Reese says I had a Mossberg 500A with the pistol grip. That sounds familiar to you, there, TJ.
Oh yeah, with the heat shield and the shell rack on the side. That's the way to go.
Yep. Guy says Winchester, I guess, because I own one, but I do have a Remington 870. So 45% said Benelli. 22% said other. 13% said Winchester. 12% said Beretta. 8% said Browning. Now, there were 76 comments on the other. And the vast majority of not only answering the question, but chastising me for not having them on the list were Mossberg and Remington. Huge, obviously. Those were... And the reason why I didn't put Remington or Mossberg on there is because I knew that if I put those on there, that no one else would get a vote. What I probably should have done is made you choose Remington or Mossberg. That could have been an interesting poll. I think that go ahead.
The video I put out a week or two ago where I did a similar experiment. I know. But I did a similar experiment, and so it was kind of good that you left those off, because through that, Mossberg 500 was the overwhelming winner, and Remington 870 was behind it, and everything else was literal scraps on the floor compared to those two. I mean, it was just overwhelming. Mostly Mossberg 500, but enough Remington that it definitely came in second.
Yeah. And it was probably those two, and then third was way back, I'm sure. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people have the 500s just because where they come in at the price point as well, too. I mean, I think I want to say back in the day, my first one was a 500, and I got it for like $200. I was like, I think you've got the 500, the 870, the Maverick. I think a lot of people own Maverick just because you could go buy it for nothing at Walmart back in the day, and I think that's probably why Mossberg's probably sold a ton. Is Mossbergs were sold I don't know if they still are, but forever that's Walmart. That was like Walmart was the Mossberg that was there, and people that's where they bought them. I don't know.
There's a ton of box stores.
Walmart down here.
Yeah. I mean, box stores. I mean, it was just I mean, I think that and they were cheap. And I'm not saying cheap quality; they were just cheap priced.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I can honestly say.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I can honestly say I know I have slung thousands of Mossberg 500s over the years. I have no idea how many I've sold.
Yeah,
but it's an insane number.
Now this is part of the Go ahead.
No, I was saying, we used to run specials all the time, like Black Friday for like $250. They just sold themselves.
Well, they are over the 10 million production number at this point on the Mossberg 500.
They're just nuts how many they built.
Yeah.
Do you know what the Remington 870 is?
Over 10 million. I know for a fact when I was doing my homework.
So they're both over that? They're both over that number?
Okay. I know they're both over 10 million, but that's about as close as I can get you. I mean, they're not far over that, either one of them. But here's the thing. Here's what's interesting.
They're probably the only two that are over that number.
Yeah, they're both over that number. But here's the thing. The Remington 870 was out about 10 years before the Mossberg 500.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay.
So that means Mossberg has made more in a shorter amount of time.
Yep. Now, this is something that Clover and I were discussing after I put the poll out. I knew that there was going to be interesting comments and all that. And the reason why I put Browning and Winchester is those were the Mossberg and Remingtons of like Grandpa's age and all that. Those are the old Fudd shotguns. And Honcho says, yeah, the older vintage Brownings are classics. Keep the value and still work great. So, if you would have asked a 70-year-old or 80-year-old, they're probably going to come up with a Browning or a Winchester because those were the Mossberg and the Remingtons of their day, probably. So it's interesting.
Do not tell a boomer Southern man anything negative about a Browning A5.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you will never hear the end of it.
Hey, as far as semi-auto shotgun, that was the only game in town for a long time. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a fantastic shotgun. I'm not arguing that, but if you try to show where technology has marched forward a little bit, you're not going to get a pleasant response.
Yep. Reese said his first shotgun or first gun he ever bought, I think he said he got it for $199 was the Mossberg 500. So, yep. Booger Dog says, Grandpa, I resemble that remark. Well, and I bet you probably would have chosen a Winchester or Browning. But yeah, most of them, the vast majority of those 76 comments were, you're just stupid. Why do you not have Mossberg or Remington on there? I understand that, guys. There's a reason why. But no, that's what we're going to talk about is shotguns. And like I said, as much as I make fun of the Fudd life and King Fudd down there, when it comes to shotguns, here's the thing about shotguns. As much as it kills me to say this, the shotgun platform is probably the most versatile platform out there because you can hunt with it, you can defend with it, you can do shooting sports, you can literally do with different gauges or slugs. A shotgun is something that anyone can use. Relatively easy. You don't see them having malfunctions a whole hell of a lot over time. They're a very, very versatile weapon system that anyone can use. And there's a reason why to this day shotguns are still highly sought after, whether it's a cheap one or a high-end one. You can do so many things with it. When I think shotgun, I want to go through the panel. Well, I'll give mine here a little bit. Let's start with King Fudd down there. When someone says shotgun, not a caliber, not a specific use for it, just when you hear shotgun, like what's the first thing that comes to your mind, Clove?
Some type of break action.
Okay. And then do you have that for a specific reason, or is that just your favorite type of shotgun?
Just because that was the most common for a very, very, very long time. This is the cheapest. It's the entry level. Again, we talk about, years and years, well, a century ago, right? And we're talking about the farmer that buys it at the feed store. And a lot of times it was a single shot. So,
right. Chase, when you hear shotgun, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Honestly, it's usually versatility.
Yeah. Okay.
And then how to sell it.
And then what?
I said, then how to sell it to somebody.
Let's just be. I mean, hey, it is what it is. TJ, when you think of shotgun, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Just hunting.
Okay.
We always hunted. Yeah. We use them for everything: squirrels, geese, pheasant, deer. In some states, you weren't allowed to use rifles.
That's a real thing. Booger Dog says I just bagged 200 rifle slug 12 gauge for $66, 88 delivered in tax. I think Jeff is listening to a little 90s hip hop, if you will, a little House of Pain, maybe. I think it was a little. I think it's Jump Around was House of Pain, if I remember. Yeah.
Correct.
I don't know if Jeff knows.
Some Irish white boys
from Boston. Yeah, go figure.
Boston.
From Boston. Guy says some of the cheaper shotguns work well. I just bought my nephew's both shotguns. One is it's in our partner pump, and the other is Rhea Mariva. Is that am I saying that right? Rhea Mariva? Am I saying that right? I never heard of Rhea Mariva. And they
Rock
both
Island Armory.
Oh, right. Okay. Okay. Well, it was the way it was written. It wasn't. It was like Rhea, like a name. Okay. So Rock Island, and then they both seem to work well. There you go. That's the thing about shotguns is they for the most part they work, and you don't have to go spend a ton of money. That's why the Mossberg 500, the Maverick 88s of the world, the Remington 870s, these are very quality for the price. You're going to get something that works. Are there a lot of shotguns out there that have better actions? I mean, better furniture, everything's better. Yeah, but if you're looking for something just basic I guess it really all depends on what your use is for too. It's going to be for home defense or hunting or skeet and trap or all sorts of stuff. Then find that one. But you've got these shotguns. You can find shotguns for $200 all the way up to $50,000 or probably more. I want to know what's the most expensive Chase or Clover, TJ? What's the most expensive shotgun you've ever seen?
6 figures for sure.
That's crazy.
In person, it's sold at auction for 1.2.
What? Whose was it?
Yeah, it was a Merkel. It was probably 2006, 7-ish. It was like a finale gun. It was over under. They did one receiver, a full set of barrels, 3 barrel links, and it was a couple of their master engravers and a couple of their master stocksmiths were retiring, so it was like their parting piece. So for like 2 years, these guys, like in their like an extra time, got to go nuts on this thing. And it was like a piece of wood that came out of like some primordial swamp in New Zealand. I forget exactly what kind of wood it was, but it was amazing. The detail, the engraving, the woodwork, the checkering, just it was a true old school blue. Like it was the most gorgeous thing you've ever seen. And then like some, Russian oligarch, oil tycoon bought it at auction.
Sure.
It's probably sitting on a yacht that's been impounded right now.
1.2 million. Wow. TJ, do you remember what's expensive yours is?
10s, 20,000s. This wasn't a lot.
Yeah, I think
he said wasn't a
I
lot.
Remember. Well, yeah. I mean,
not compared to 1.2.
In comparison to 1.2 million, yeah, 20,000 isn't a whole lot.
I've got that right here. I mean, come on now.
Yeah. Pocket change.
You'll see a bunch of expensive ones at Wanamaker, but they're usually around that $30,000 to $50,000.
I find, of course, I'm looking at them, right, and a lot of people ain't. They're not. But I've seen 6-figure shotguns there every single time I've went, I think.
Yeah, you go to most major like. I was gonna say you go to a lot of like major trap or sporting clay competitions. You'll see a lot in that 10 to 40ish range.
Yeah.
Yep. Ozzy first gun was an H&R single shot 410. Let's see here. Honcho. First shot, a 16 gauge. That's the gentleman's gauge. Is that correct? The 16?
That is correct.
Holy shit! See, I'm not just a pretty face. Anyways,
28 for life.
Yeah,
the 16 gauge hunting with my pawpaw, hunting rabbit and squirrels. Pawpaw used a single shot 22 bolt for squirrels. One shot, one kill. That's impressive. That's impressive. Booger says nothing kicks harder than a single shot light 12 with a long.
Really, with a long barrel?
I
don't know. I get more kick. It seems like with shorter barrel single shot.
I would think that that's just, and no matter what kind of gun it is, a rifle, a handgun, I would think a shorter barrel would cause a little bit more. But hey,
I don't know. I've got a goose gun, a double barrel 10 gauge, and that thing kicks pretty darn hard.
That's a 10 gauge.
Still,
it's a 10 gauge.
It's almost as tall as I am.
A 10 gauge is going to kick regardless.
But the gun's almost as tall as, like, it doesn't fit in the safe. It's that tall. The barrel's that long.
So it's probably taller than I am, easily.
Oh yeah, definitely, easily.
So
you don't have to agree with me, dude.
So that's a long tom.
Let's see here. C&T says most expensive I had my hands on was $32,000 or $34,000. 223 says 7.5 inch mag double barrel waterfowl Widowmaker. A 7.5 inch double barrel waterfowl. Bet you that's got a kick to it.
Sign me up. I'm in.
I'll shoot anything once.
Out there says love my Mauser 98K with the Steiner. Cal says old Walmart shotgun that my dad got for like $100 in the mid 90s. Let's see here. Smeggy says used to have a Sears pump 12 gauge that his grandpa got from James Earl Jones's grandfather. No shit. That's kind of cool.
What didn't Sears make back in the day?
Sears, oh man, there were so many of them. Oh yeah, I mean Sears was, and I want to say that Sears had the very first like credit card too. Like that's why people went to Sears is they offer like credit, like you didn't have to pay for it right then. It was like holy cow, Sears.
Think about it, you could buy machine guns out of the Sears catalog before the NFA,
and have it shipped to your house.
Yeah.
And have it shipped to your house.
Everybody needs a BAR out of the Sears catalog. Come on.
Yes, we do.
Who doesn't?
Absolutely. Who doesn't?
Exactly. Trying to go here. Christmas 740s out there. Defense says I'm not much of a shotgun guy. The only one I own is H&R Partner Pump that he built. Robert says my first gun's an SKS. Paid $99. Good luck with it, man. You should sell it right now. You can get about $1,000 for them now. Yep. Fucking crazy ass people out there. Sears and Roebuck had mini guns. Yes, they did. And Sears didn't make them. They didn't make them, but they were a lot of them were stamped. Now Marlin had like a whole Sears Roebuck line. Was it Sears? They had like a whole line of one of the stores, didn't they, Clover?
Yeah.
Marlin did some Sears, but Marlin did a lot more Montgomery Ward, Western
Montgomery
Auto.
Ward. That's what I was thinking of.
Western Auto.
With Sears, you've seen a lot of high standard, a lot of Stevens, Winchester, Mossberg. A lot of Mossberg would see. I think eventually every gun company made something for the department stores at some point.
They had to. I mean, that was you got to do. Yeah. You got to get that price point in there for sure. So the next question I want to go with you guys and say I want to start this with Chase. Favorite. I'm going to call them caliber. I don't like using the word gauges and all that. What's your favorite caliber, quote unquote, that you like for shotguns? Like, do you have like the go-to? Is it 12, 8, 10, 16, 28, 410? Like, what's your go-to if you could just choose one?
I mean, the go-to is 12 just for absolute versatility. But my personal favorite, I love 28 gauge. Don't care. Yep. I love shooting 28.
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So 12 gauge is probably the 9mm of the shotgun. Is that is that a fair comparison?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay. All right.
It's the 5.56 9mm 308
Yep.
dual caliber.
Yep. A lot of guys that I know love the 28 gauge. Is there something about the 28 gauge that you like the most?
It's just there's no recoil to it. You have more shot, more powder than you would like in a 410. It's not as aggressive as a 16 or a 20 for like if you let kids or beginner shooters or something like that shoot it. But like I like, like hunting certain upland game birds and stuff like that. It's just so much fun to shoot. And then, you can shoot 5-stand with it. You can shoot skeet with it. It's a blast. There's no recoil to it. It sucks to pay for shells. They're twice as expensive as a 12. Just like 410 is.
Too. It's faster too.
It's so fast.
The perception of it is like you can load it a little hotter. I mean, because you don't have that recoil, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can load it hotter, and I mean, it makes no difference. It's not like you feel it, and so you've got you can shoot higher velocity, and because the shot weight is not as much, and because the column is not as wide, you don't get the same type breakup you would trying to shoot other bigger gauges hot. And then because it's faster, that decreases your lead time.
So like the 410, is that kind of like the 22 LR of the shotgun world?
You know what? I would say the 12 gauge is honestly the 22 or almost. It's both. It serves both, right? Because the 12 gauge is the cheapest.
It's the cheapest to shoot. Yeah.
And it's the most common gauge you see in anything.
Well, the reason why I was saying 410 isn't a 410 kind of what you would start the kids out on?
People do,
I don't know if you'd start with a 12, would you?
So that's such a
I did.
That's such a myth and a bad decision. And I agree with you that a lot of people do start kids out on 410. And if you're starting them out as far as, okay, I'm going to use a shotgun so they don't have to be dead on accurate shooting cans or something like that, right? Okay, that's one thing. I get it, right? It makes that trigger pull versus that hit that much easier. And it's all about getting rounds on target is when they're going to have fun. The problem that I got when people want to get their kids into sporting clays and they give their kid a 410, and that's like the absolute highest level of difficulty you could possibly give it.
Right.
And I mean, there's literal people that, are pros that can't do it with a freaking 410.
So if you were to start out, if you're going to start out a kid, for people out there that might be listening that want to get their kid starting in trap or skeet or whatever, what would you guys suggest to start a kid out if it's not 410?
Conventionally 20.
20.
Yeah, I would say 28, but with the difficulty of you don't have a lot of options in 28 gauge shotguns. And ammunition,
and like you said, it's expensive,
harder to find, right? So 20. But I have literally had 8-year-old little girls finish the shotgun curriculum with a 20 gauge shotgun. So if an 8-year-old little girl can do it, I mean, come on, it can't be that bad.
Like there's a huge push anyway for more and more people are going away from 12s to 20s because guys are tired of getting beat up and all that anyway.
I get that.
And with the advent of modern shells, just like, you have to have a 45 for everything now that 9mm is king of the world. Same thing, the bullet technology, the ammunition technology itself has gotten so much better.
Yeah.
I can do anything with a 20 gauge TSS load that a 3.5-inch 12 gauge does.
But Chase spoke to something earlier that a lot of people don't realize. A lot of people will, especially if they're getting out and they're doing sporting clays, right? And they're not hitting, right? And let's say they're using a 20. They'll step up to a 12, right? And they'll think, oh, well, I'm going to go with a 12 and I'm going to get some more shot. I'm going to do this and do that. Well, the reason you're missing with a 20 is the shotgun, either your mechanics are totally wonky or your shotgun doesn't fit you. Right. And going up to a 12 gauge, increasing the gauge, increasing the amount of shot, doing all this stuff is not going to help you if the shotgun doesn't fit because where you're pointing is not where the shot is going.
No. And most people don't follow through on a shotgun anyway.
How important are the chokes, the different chokes for shotguns when it comes to sporting clays?
If you're good, nothing in the world for somebody like me, because I admit I'm not the world's greatest shotgunner.
Or someone like me that's never done it before,
Yeah, I definitely utilize chokes and change out if we're at a sporting clays event. Now, I'll often run skeet chokes like for everything. And the only time I need to upgrade to another choke, obviously if I'm bird hunting or something like that, we're talking about sporting clays though. Every now and then I'll put something like a light modified in for the follow-up shot on a certain stage. But for the most part, now the difference is that when I'm shooting the skeet choke, it's less constriction, right? So it's got a wider pattern. So you don't dust the clay, right? You'll wing it.
Right.
In other words, you'll hit it, it'll break in 2 or 3 pieces or something, right? But a hit's a hit, the way I look at it.
Yeah, it's not breaking up into powder, but who cares?
I don't care. A hit's a hit. And so that's the game I play with it, because it helps me, because I'm not the world's greatest shotgun.
He's cheating is what he's saying.
Yeah,
I shoot a lot modified because I want to dust it.
There's nothing stock about a stock car, right?
No, that's true. That's true. Ozzy out there says he has a Bond Arms Derringer and 410-45 Colt. Does this count as a double barrel shotgun?
Not as far as the ATF's concerned. I tell you that.
Right. Defense Data said, I wonder if the poll results would have been different had you specified defensive shotgun or traditional. Absolutely. If I would have said, what's the best sporting clay shotgun, it probably would have been Beretta and Benelli, hands down. If you're saying home defense, it could have been this or that. If you were saying a waterfowl, like duck hunting, like true duck hunting, it's going to be this one. If you're talking, yes, I mean, obviously in everything, if you have a specific use, there are going to be not just in shotguns, but any kind of weapon system. There's going to be brands that target and specify for different usage. So obviously the poll would have been much different if I would have said home defense or whatever. 223 says 20 gauge is getting very popular. Robert says 12 gauge pump. Reese says there are so many different types of double-aught buck slugs in different ounces. Everglades Concealed says love the 28. Gary out there says 410 still kicks like a mule. Mine has virtually no recoil pad. Let's see here. Cal says rather start my kid on a 20 gauge if recoil is an issue. Gary says that for him the 20 gauge is the sweet spot. Reese says 12 was what his grandfather threw us behind, and he was a hillbilly bastard. At least he didn't charge it like an 8. I mean, that or 6. That could have been interesting.
I have faint memories of my grandfather handing me a 10 gauge, and me cutting down on it. And
how'd that go for you?
Well, I had to get up off the ground. But I've got faint memories of that. So,
he's got a little concussion that his mind has blocked off that memory.
Yeah, I don't know how old I was. I mean, I was single digits. I mean, 8 or 9, maybe.
Yeah, Booger Dog says at 10 years old, his daughter was by herself in a tree stand with a 20 gauge wind pump youth model. Grandson shooting it now at 12 years old. If you can't, Cal says, if you can't hit with a 20, you ain't going to hit it with a 12.
Yep.
Jeff says rear naked choke for the win. Rear naked choke for the win.
All right. Sounds like a wrestling move, don't it?
It does. It also sounds like maybe a porn position. Maybe Jeff's talking about. I don't know.
Kama Sutra, man. It's Kama Sutra. Come on.
Yeah, I don't want to ask. Yeah. And this is the leader of the Boy Scouts. I worry about this thing. Let's see here. 26-inch improved cylinder, 26-inch barrel, 223 DMR. Let's see here. Honcho says you got to game the system, bro. I think he's talking about when you went with the 28 with the skeet choke. Yeah. Let's see here. Cal says his Supernova is a 28-inch with a 3/4-inch extended choke and can take 3.5-inch shells. There you go.
I don't have the Supernova, but I do have a Nova. And that is the hardest kicking 12 gauge pump shotgun I have ever shot in my entire life. I don't know what it is about the Benelli Novas, but good God, and I love a Benelli, but oh my God, those are horrible.
He's right. Regular Nova is a kicking chicken. A Supernova, it's got more weight, it's got a little more mass. It's not as bad. But if you really don't like somebody, put a 3 or 3.5 inch of Benelli Nova and hand it to them, and just enjoy.
Yep. And just stand back and watch, huh? Yeah.
Oh, it's.
I'm going to start this one. Go ahead. Go ahead, Chase.
I was just going to say it's just magical.
Yeah. I'm going to start this with you, Chase. Favorite type or action or whatever, favorite type of shotgun. You've already said that you'd probably go 20 or 28 gauge. But what's your favorite kind of shotgun if you had to choose one and only one?
Over, under, bar none.
Over, under, okay.
Like not even a question for me.
Not even a question. Wow, okay. TJ, what about you if you had to choose one?
Oh, definitely semi-auto. Mag-fed preferably.
Mag-fed semi-auto, okay. Clove, what about you? Do you have a favorite?
Absolutely. I concur 100% with Chase.
I knew it.
Coming down to you had to get rid of.
I knew he wasn't. I knew he wasn't going to compare with TJ.
No, I know that.
If I had to get rid of every shotgun, forced to get rid of everything I have, and I can only keep one, it's gonna be a double barrel for sure, and it's gonna be a double barrel with removable chokes for sure, and preferably over under.
Okay, all right.
If we're down to one, can I cheat and have screw-in tubes so I can shoot different gauges while I'm at it?
This is true too. I didn't think about that, or even inserts.
That's what I'm saying. I'm gonna put tubes in them.
One shotgun. So.
It is still one shotgun, exactly.
Yep.
Just accessories.
Now, I would like to be like TJ though, and I would love to go shoot sporting clays with a Fostech.
Oh my
God.
You know
the Mandalorian rifle Ghost was started as a 410, and it's got
410. That's right.
In it.
That's
so
right.
You could get tubes
with the 22 conversion kit.
You could have a single shot 12 gauge. Just let this sink in for people out there thinking about neat stuff. You could get a single shot 12 gauge and get these 18-inch inserts, and you can get them in like 45 Colt, 357 Magnum, all kinds of rifled inserts to go in your single shot shotgun.
Can you imagine having a 12 gauge and a 44 Magnum in the same one? That would be fun. Just saying.
You could just get a drilling.
This is true.
Yeah. Super chat. Thank you for mandatory care out there. $5 super chat. I think he might have had a stroke. I don't know what this is saying. But if it's FYT's fault, okay. This time and Cry Precision 612. Thanks for the super chat, buddy. Appreciate it.
I think maybe he was just making you read something.
I think that he was just like randomly typing and saying he's going to read whatever it is. So, well done, sir. Well played.
That Cry 612 was actually a pretty cool play toy. It wasn't ever a mainstream thing. It was something Cry.
I didn't heard of it.
Yeah.
Not that surprised. I'm not a big shotgun guy, so I wouldn't have heard a lot of it. But Guy says, Clover, I have a Midland Arms backpack that I shoot 9mm and 22 LR out of.
Yup, so he knows what's up. Yep.
I don't know a Midland Arms backpack.
So what I'm wondering is he using just the chamber modifiers, because they make different inserts. They make some little, I call them cheap inserts, but they make some little, basically it takes up the area of the shell, right? And then chambers it down. There's no actual barrel. And then they make an actual insert that's an 18-inch barrel, right? So you've actually got it shooting, and probably if he's actually using it for anything, I'm sure it's actually got.
Now, with those barrels, would those be rifled barrels, or they still be?
Yes, they are rifled. The inserts are.
They would be rifled.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's what's cool about those is you can drop those in a single shot, and I mean it literally turns it into a rifle. I mean it literally turns.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. What the hell did you just send me?
And I don't know how accurate the little chamber thingies are. So I've never shot.
That's the
those.
612.
Oh, that's what you're talking about. Okay, cool. All right, cool. Yeah, Chase just sent me a text, but it's like, what the hell is that? But yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie.
I had a little modular drum, so I'd be up TJ's alley for sure because I think it's cool too. It's got a chassis system. Pops out, goes on an AR. It's cool.
Ooh, sounds good.
It's like a chainsaw, but with a drum.
I like it.
Let's see here. 223 says you can buy those inserts for 8mm Mauser. You can shoot 32 pistol rounds. Interesting. Now this is one that I'm surprised hasn't popped up more because there's a lot of CZ folks out there, and
Yeah.
I never saw a CZ comment. And I've heard I've never shot one, but I've heard good things about the CZ shotguns. I was a little surprised that it took this long for a CZ to make an appearance.
Yep. Not a lot of people think about CZ. So, but yeah,
yep.
The ones I've seen and shot are pretty amazing.
Yeah. The Frag 12 shells, because fuck everyone. That's why. There you go. How about that? Why not?
Whoa. Have you seen the rubber ducky rounds? That needs to be somebody's next gear test. Seriously, we got some in at the shop. It's literal like little rubber balls, but they're rubber duckies.
Really?
Less lethal.
It's a less lethal round, but it's actual little rubber ducks in the shell.
That's pretty awesome, actually.
Get ducked up, man.
Getting ducked up. I tell you what we're gonna do. We're actually gonna take a little bit of a few minutes here. And I'm going to let Chase talk a little bit about Gerson's shotgun and anything else you guys are bringing through EAA, as I know you guys have some shotguns. So I know that Gerson has the was it the 312 or something like that? I might be getting the name of it wrong, but
yeah,
I think it's 312, isn't it?
Yeah, you're doing good still. That's what the avatar picture is. That's one of the 312s.
Oh, okay.
So,
okay.
Yeah,
okay.
The 312's, it's an inertia base shotgun. It's same design as Benelli, but at a drastically more attractive price point. It's literally a Super Black Eagle, but for street price, $400.
I'm going to go ahead and share.
Absolutely runs like a champ. I mean, Clover's got one. He's rented hard. He knows. It's one of those guns that I wish when I was running a retail shop that I had as a good option, because you get a lot of guys that came in that, hey man, I would love, a Super Black Eagle or an M2, or they would look at high-end Brownings or Berettas, whatever, and they just couldn't afford it. There wasn't besides a Stoker, which is a good gun, but Stokers are clunky. There wasn't a good option on the market. So we have 312. It's done extremely well the last few years. We have sold absolute tons of them, but you've got different versions. You've got the standard 312 filled, which are your 28-inch black or camo 3.5-inch guns. But you have a sporting model, you have a tactical model. We have the new Goose gun. We have the Gobbler. A whole family of these things.
Yeah, that Gobbler's a pretty badass looking. Does it come with the optic?
Comes with the optic.
That's pretty awesome.
And the cool thing about those is, and a certain company that we were talking about earlier has copied this, is that rail. I mean, we were talking about it at SHOT Show. The rail is actually cut into the receiver, so you don't pick your head up off the shotgun when you shoot it. Turkey hunters especially know what I'm talking about. Before you had a rail.
Also a standard rail, by the way, so you can put any optic on it.
It's a regular Picatinny, so anything Picatinny goes right on there.
Yep.
So you're not stuck with one particular optics cut like some companies are doing on receiver rails now, but you're stuck with certain miniature reflex sights. It's a Picatinny. Whatever you desire, you can put on there.
I'm going to say this, and you guys are going to laugh, but you guys know me. In terms of shotguns, this is the Walnut Deluxe 3. That's a really pretty shotgun. Aesthetically, I like it.
That's a slug gun, right?
Yeah. What's that?
Yeah, they make them both ways.
I said that's a slug gun there. It looks like with the sight.
No, they've got a slug and a regular. So that is the they go down to the walnut slug, and this is the slug version. But to me, that's just a really pretty finish in the walnut. I mean, it's a pretty shotgun.
Oh,
I still got
with some good walnut.
I still got a few of the 28-inch like field guns and walnuts sitting around the shop that are really nice Turkish walnut on them.
I like that. I always like that. I mean, I'm a tactical guy, but I have a little bit of inner Fudd, and like the classic wood look on the stocks is always awesome with shotguns.
Yeah, it's something about a shotgun just looks good like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm generally, a synthetic, all that person, but when it comes to shotgun, there's something about pretty wood. It's just
that's a pretty looking shotgun right there. It really is.
Yeah. That's what I've still got a few laying around of.
Of the standard.
The standard with the wood.
28-inch barrel.
Yep. I've got some sports too with a 24-inch barrel that are wood.
That'll be good looking. That's over at Gerson.com. Go check this. Some really pretty rifles. Shotguns. I mean, they got all sorts of. They got obviously the Gerson handguns, but the shotguns are out there. They've got a lot of different models of these. Really awesome.
It's for the U.S. customers. Everything that I bring into the country right now, anything they want to see, it's go to eacorp.com and check them out.
Let me just go to that one real quick.
I mean, we have the Akar line as well, the Churchill guns, and you've got.
I was going to bring those up too. Yeah.
Yeah, you got the 20 gauge.
Those
gas
are the gas
guns.
Yeah, those are the gas guns. Yeah.
So especially like talking about kids, first time shooters, people who don't want to be beat up by recoil, fantastic options, same price point. Mm-hmm. And then we have the over under side by sides, which me and Clover have had many conversations about.
Right. With the dudes from Gerson, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, the NRA, the guys from Churchill were there and had several good conversations with them.
Oh, it was those
this is guys?
Churchill.
These are really good looking shotgun right here, aesthetically. The Churchill 812 Sporting. I just think that's a good looking. That's a good looking shotgun right there.
Well, we were talking about CZs earlier. Akar made a lot of the CZ guns.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my Yildiz, which is imported by Academy, which is Turkish, basically comes out of the same lineup as Mossberg's. It's essentially the same shotgun.
Right. Let's get up here real quick before we move on to different ammos and stuff. Let's see here. Marcus says, who's your favorite overall shotgun manufacturer? We can run through this real quick. Clover, you want to go first? Who's your favorite overall?
Man, historically speaking, I gotta say Mossberg.
Okay. TJ, what about you? Favorite overall shotgun manufacturer?
Overall, yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Mossberg as well.
Yeah. Chase, what about you?
God, I'm gonna be the bougie one.
Do it.
Overall, somebody probably Beretta, because of the sheer amount of options there, and being an over/under guy, and my really nice over/under is a Beretta. It's gonna be a Beretta.
So,
yeah.
Well, you got to give yours, and then I have a question.
For me, probably Beretta. I own Mossbergs, but I shot some Berettas from the guys that I've never shot Skeeter Trap, but I shot a lot of their shotguns just because I wanted to, and they let me use Benelli and Beretta, and maybe because I'm a Beretta guy. Maybe I just went into it thinking, having good thoughts because of Beretta. I actually like the Beretta better than Benelli as far as the feel. I will say this, of my experiences, the Benelli seems smoother to me for some reason.
Yep.
I like the feel of the Beretta better. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense or not.
That Benelli inertia action, I mean, that's why so many people are doing similar guns, is It's fantastic. If it comes to semis, I'm taking the Benelli over the Beretta all day personally.
Yeah,
But
they were
overall,
serious. Yeah,
Beretta.
yeah. It was just one of those things, and you can tell. I mean, they're both very good shotguns, the Beretta and the Benellis. But for some reason, for me, it just maybe because I'm inexperienced, I don't know. But the Benelli felt smoother.
Well, that's the whole point.
That Beretta just felt better to me. Like in my hands, the Beretta felt better to me.
I mean, you go and shoot what feels good. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, and the Beretta didn't feel bad. It was just something about when you pull that trigger, and the Benelli was a little bit better, So yeah. Clove, I know we wanted to bring up some different things when it comes to ammo, when it comes to shotguns, and this is something I don't know a lot about this, so I'm going to let kind of you and Chase maybe. I think TJ's probably the same boat as I am. I use freaking 12 gauge buckshot, basically. Okay,
whatever I have is 3.5.
Yeah, 3.5, 12 gauge buckshot.
Yep,
let's do it. Go ahead, Clove.
Well, before we get off of the guns, don't forget a couple that also, CZ wasn't mentioned earlier. Two more that I've seen and shot. It's pretty good stuff. FN and HK. Don't forget they have.
I knew FN did. I did not know that HK made shotguns.
HK used to bring in all the Benellis.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah, all the Faber line and all that. Oh yeah.
Well, I did not know that.
A lot of the original like Benelli like tactical guns all have HK on them.
Yeah, I've got an FP6.
Yeah.
Yeah. HK.
Wow.
Anyway, ammo. Yeah.
Ammo, yeah. So I mean, obviously, I think if we're talking about people out there, obviously a lot of people out here in the chat know a lot about shotguns. I'm not one of those people. I'm kind of shotgun ignorant, to be honest with you. But I know there's a lot of people out there that might be looking to get a shotgun or something. And let's kind of talk a little bit about. And TJ and I will probably just sit back and listen, but you and Chase can kind of go in. There are specific types of defensive rounds. There are hunting types of rounds or ammo choices. There's skeet and trap loads. There's all sorts of stuff. So if you kind of want to go into, let's talk first about maybe some defensive loads. In a defensive load, do you have one in particular that you like?
Defensive load? I mean, I'm typically running like double-aught buckshot.
Okay.
Number 4 buck.
And see, I don't know what the number. I don't know what the numbers mean. Like I said, I'm literally ignorant, so I have no idea.
Smaller the number, bigger the shot.
Right.
Okay. The little ball bearings you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay,
right.
I got you.
Yeah.
So I like a number 4 because you have more pellets, but you don't have an over penetration risk that you have with double-aught. So inside a house, you don't have to worry about it going through walls, building material, that kind of stuff, as you would with a double-aught with a heavier shot size.
I choose Dragon's Breath. That's what I use for my
no kidding, right?
I do know what those are. I know those things are destructive. So
I prefer the buckshot. I mean, when you're talking slugs, I mean, we've got shot. We're talking shotguns. We've got shot, and we've got slugs, right?
And there's different types of each. So there's buckshot.
There's different types of each. Yeah.
I mean, there's bird shot. There's all sorts of different stuff.
Jumping since we're talking, defensive use. A lot of people go with slugs. Understand you've got Forstner slugs, you've got rifled slugs, and you got varying kinds, right? And I'd put something in the private chat about the duplex Hexalit 32 slugs.
Those Hexalits are evil.
Oh my God, they're bad to the bone. I've got a case of those. Well, I've shot a few playing around, but I've got a case of those, and those dudes are mean.
So are they? Did you say they're shot or are they slugs? I didn't hear what you said.
They're slugs.
They're slugs.
Okay. Slugs. Yeah. And I was gonna try to find the.
Did you do the solid copper Hexalits?
Mine are older, so no, they're not. They're not.
I just
mine are older.
I want to shoot the solid copper ones, see what they do.
They have some that come in brass, don't they?
Yeah, they got the brass ones.
That would hurt.
a lot.
Just
I
saying.
was gonna go
Oh,
try
yeah.
to find. Let me see if I can find. I don't
Trey's
have a
like,
box.
oh.
of
That plate carrier wouldn't do shit. You might as well be wearing a t-shirt.
Yeah, if it doesn't
Damn.
penetrate, the blunt force trauma is going to ruin your day.
Yeah, that's what I was. That's what I was looking for.
Have to drink some more
was
beers.
Hold on, let's see if I can find one. Back.
But we were talking about shot size, what he looks. So, like,
Yeah,
I use a number 4 in the house as a good example. So, a
Okay.
number 4 buck is equivalent roughly to like a 24 caliber, whereas a double auto
Okay,
is
okay.
roughly a 33 caliber.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
So
So
you're still flinging a large projectile downrange. It's just the number 4, I have more of them.
I got you. Okay.
So the Hexalit 32 slugs. Now these are 12 gauge, right? 1,400 feet per second with
Shit.
2,130 foot-pounds of energy.
Yeah.
Now listen to the message on the box. Here's how the box reads.
I'm shooting a 45-70 in your
Are
house.
you
Not
are you ready?
fucking
Are you
around.
ready for this?
Do,
Okay,
yeah,
listen.
it says do not fuck around with these is what it says.
Oh,
Yeah.
basically. So listen to this very carefully. Expanding slug Hexalit is designed for big game hunting, more self-defense, providing fast energy transfer with increased diameter forepart of the slug. It creates a powerful shockwave that stops the vital functions of the game animal. Slug expands immediately after hitting the body, providing large entrance holes and massive blood tracts. Fragmenting Hexalit 32 slugs provide also unique combined stopping impact with 6 detachable splinters.
Holy shit.
Kind of
How would
like
you-
those
How would you
RIP
like to
rounds.
get hit by- So basically, what
The-
that's saying is, if you're wearing a vest and I shoot you with this, it will stop your heart.
Yeah.
That's nuts. That
You're
is
dead
nuts.
regardless because it just stops your heart. Unless
Right.
somebody's there, get the vest off and do CPR. You're gone.
Got a question out there from Guy. He says, so for a person who lives in a mobile home, would birdshot or number 5 upland shot be better than buckshot?
I don't know that I would go birdshot.
No, I would still
do
roll a
bird
number
shot.
4 buck.
Yeah.
Inside
Now,
a
if
mobile
you had
home.
something,
Okay.
Even I'm a mobile home. You still have got your wood insulation. There's
Yeah.
the metal. There's
Yeah,
still
it
stuff
depends
in
on
there.
it.
I mean,
yeah, thin wall stuff.
yeah.
I mean, you're still. I mean, it's the same thing I would tell people in apartments and that kind of stuff too. I always, would steer them towards like the number 4 because you still had plenty of mass energy going into whatever you're shooting at, but you don't have the over-penetration issues you do a traditional double-aught buck.
Yeah.
I mean, I've talked to guys that they run like a really heavy, like a pheasant load or something like that, like a number 5, and okay, I don't want to get shot with a 3-inch pheasant load either, and that would definitely do the trick.
I don't get a shot. I'm gonna get shot with any of it. What are you talking about?
No, but most of that stuff is either like tungsten or bismuth or a blend, and that's going to go through a wall.
I can't tell you how I know this, but even a rock salt load from 20 or 30 yards away is not a good day.
No. Oh no.
Yep. I'm trying to see if there's any more questions or anything out here. So for someone, like I said, who's a novice, getting into a shotgun, is there a type, whether it's an over-under, is a semi, pump, whatever, if you want kind of that all-around cool, you can use it for maybe sporting clays, you can use it for hunting if you had to, you could use it for home defense if that's what you had. Is there kind of like a catch-all shotgun out there for people to look for?
Pump with a 24-inch or longer barrel would be my
Yeah.
suggestion.
Better. I mean, there's some pumps out there. Like we've done them. Mossberg does them. Remington used to. They did like a pump that was a field option and a home defense option barrel. It was like a 2-pack.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. Yeah, you can find, you hit up gun shows and you get whatever, and you've got people that have taken, they bought a, hunting style shotgun and maybe they put a shorter barrel or a slug barrel or, you know what I'm saying? You can find barrel takeoffs. And it's real easy to swap a pump shotgun barrel. Super easy. So
we did the Churchills that way. So we did the 612 with 620s with both barrels, a 28 inch or 26, depending on the caliber, and an 18.5 inch like home defense. And then Mossberg does the same thing.
Okay. Reese says he always runs number 4, and the last shot is a slug. So that's how he loads his.
That'll work.
That final destination shot, if you will.
If you're
with the
close,
slug.
I mean, it's pretty easy to hit with a slug up close. What I was going to say is pay attention to your slugs, though. Rifled slugs are what's designed to be shot in a smoothbore.
Yeah. That's the confusing thing for a lot of people is slugs in general is confusing.
Yeah. So if you've got a slug gun, don't buy the rifled slugs. If you've got a smoothbore, buy the rifled slugs.
Yeah. And then shot is confusing for a lot of people, and choke types. Like, I can't tell you. I mean, we see them in our service department every year. You start getting around waterfowl season, turkey season, somebody grenades their barrel.
Yeah.
They did
because they put the wrong they put the wrong shot in there, didn't change the choke. You got to have a choke that's rated for whatever shots you're shooting.
That's a good point. And also you got to be really careful with what choke you're running if you're running a slug in a smoothbore.
So many rules.
Yeah.
Like in my old shop,
that's why I hate shotguns. It's just this Fudd shit's too difficult.
Just throw a suppressor on the end. We're done.
Yeah.
What if they were all sold with a box of crayons? Would that make you happy?
Now that makes it better. That would make it. I would make me happier. Yes. I need 2 things: a box of crayons, and I need the instruction manual to be pictures only.
Somebody to make a picture.
Pop-up.
I was fixing to mention
a pop-up picture manual.
That's actually what I was going to say. A pop-up instruction book is what I was.
No, but see, after like every 3rd or 4th picture, it's got to say raw.
Yeah,
raw. That's right. Yeah. In a slot for another crayon. After 3 or 4 pages, you need another crayon to keep going.
End line, eat crayon.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for it. That would definitely catch my attention. What? I don't know what he's saying. G23's out there. He says, "Hey, Clover, TJ, Ghost, Tactical, you need instructions on audio books." No, I need picture books. I'm a visual learner, not an audio learner,
I do say, a couple of things when we're talking about defense. You were talking earlier about 20 gauge. I do think 20 gauge has gotten popular. I think people are seeing the light. If you're getting a shotgun for home defense, I honestly don't know why I don't know the perk of going 12 gauge on that.
You're not really in a traditional shell. You're not really sacrificing that much as far as capacity, shot or powder wise.
And at those distances, it does not matter. Now, availability of, what we would consider defensive ammunition or, what could be used as defensive ammunition in a 20 gauge, probably not as prevalent as 12. So that could be a drawback. But, you're talking about something that if you were talking about a man and his wife and maybe, teenagers in the house or something, a 20 gauge would certainly be something that all of them could handle.
Well, that's where I was kind of getting ready to go. Let's say they're going to get a shotgun for the home, and it could be used for the husband, the wife, the 13-year-old, the 10-year-old, whoever is around it they want something that everyone could use. And you guys were talking earlier about the 410 being really the recoil being non-existent to a certain extent. Why wouldn't a 410 be?
No, I never said that. 410 is a lot tougher than people think, especially in a single shot.
Okay, maybe it was 28.
28.
Yeah.
The 28. But would a 410 be a possibility to use for home, or would you not go to 410?
For me, 410 is not optimal. No. And I would push somebody into going with a freaking handgun before I would push them into a 410.
Yeah, I've got a.
Realistically, you're going to shoot a slug. and you're
Yeah.
shooting. You might as well shoot a handgun or a rifle at that point.
You're pretty much going to have to
Yeah.
shoot a slug.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, you're not going to find shot in the right size. And,
Wow. That's what
really
God
do
made
it.
Shorty 300 blackouts with cans for.
Right.
Yep.
So that's why I say 20 is.
Now you're talking my language. So
There you go.
we're not going to
No,
go
I
to
just-
that one. He was
Yeah, it's like,
300.
don't worry. When I get one of my dream shotties put together, I'll have to let you play with it because it's going to be an old A5 cut down like literally to the fore end with a salvo 12 on the end of it. I'm going to make all the old Fudds just go, oh, what'd you do?
What'd you
He's
do to
going
that?
double.
Yeah.
He's going double stamper.
Yeah. I want the little SBS with a can on it. Come on now.
That'd be
Trey's thinking, he's
honestly. I'm thinking how awesome that actually would be.
with
Like,
the
that would
wood
be
finish, Trey.
badass.
With the wood finish.
It's going to be wood.
absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
If you've got to do wood finish for the furniture, then that would be badass.
I've seen a couple pictures of them, and then I had a buddy that did one, and it lights my fire. That thing is so cool. That's like my no country for old men gun.
I'll just drive over there and be like,
He had the
"Hey, Trey,
long
look what
barrel
he
though.
made."
Yeah,
He had the
The long
coffee
barrel.
can on the end of it.
yeah. He had the goofy whatever, but
So, are you guys kind of all in agreement that maybe for the home defense starter shotgun should be 20 gauge would be kind of the optimal?
I think so.
yeah.
There you
I mean,
I only have 12 gauges, so I don't
go.
have
I
a
have
problem
12
with any of
gauges. That's all I have. Yeah, exactly. I have 12
Yeah.
gauges. So
Well, you said starter. We're not talking about people that are.
no, yeah, absolutely. And that's what I'm saying is for someone out there listening, that
can't
might
say
be
anything
saying,
about
"Hey,
20
I can go and get a 20 gauge shotgun for a good price." He doesn't have to be 12 gauge to defend your life and all that.
Yeah,
Just
20 gauge,
no.
20 gauge pump, 24-inch barrel or greater. And most are going to be probably 24-inch barrel. I mean, let's be honest. 22,
Yeah.
22 would probably work.
he makes a good point.
You're going to be able to fling clays out in the back pasture, right? With that, it would work for home defense. It's going to be a little cumbersome with a 22 or 24-inch shotgun. But if you're talking about a new firearm owner, if you're talking about a first gun for home defense, odds are they're not tactical and clearing their house with the shotgun.
Yeah,
anyway.
exactly.
Yeah.
You want something that anyone in the family could be able to pick up in that
Right.
need and be able to handle it and defend
No.
whatever. Yeah, absolutely.
You're talking about
Yeah.
being able to get a hunting license. You're talking about squirrel, rabbit, any bird, whatever, deer. My dad. That's what I was going to say earlier.
Can you
My
really?
dad-
Could 20 gauge? You could go deer
Oh,
hunting
yeah.
with.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely.
Between bucks and slugs, you can hunt just about anything you want with a 20 gauge.
Yeah.
Huh,
Now my
interesting.
dad, and it's a 12, but my dad has a Remington 1100 that's older than I am. And he has tagged out every year that I've been in existence that I've been aware, right? He's tagged out, which is 3 to 4 deer a year. And 99% have been taken with that Remington 1100 shotgun.
Wow. Okay.
So, shotguns will get it done on deer hunting without a doubt.
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
I mean, not West Texas Rocky Mountain deer hunting. I mean,
Well,
but
I understand. I understand. Sure.
You know,
No, but it's especially hardwoods or like the places you have to shoot slugs at a deer, that type of thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, for a long time, people ran dogs, shot them with shotguns.
Yep.
Probably final question before we start kind of sweeping the floor for those that are out there. We haven't really gone over this. We mentioned all of them, but there are people that don't know the difference and when they're looking for. We've talked about slugs. We've talked about buckshot. We talked about birdshot. I think most people are going to understand what the difference between shot and slugs are. But I think a lot of people might get confused. What is the difference between buckshot and birdshot?
Size, basically. The size of
Yeah.
the pellet inside, let's say.
It's all size of the projectile.
So the larger you get is more defensive and or hunting, right?
Yep.
Which is your double aught buck, for example, is really big. Number 9 shot, for example, is really small.
Yep.
So for something like sporting clay use, you want as much shot out there as possible to hit
So
that
you get
clay that's
smaller,
moving,
yeah.
right? So, not necessarily super small. I mean, if you go with like a number 12, that could be too small. Because remember,
like a number 8. A number 8 is probably a sweet spot, right?
Yeah,
Maybe.
Yeah. 7.5 and 8. If you go to most shotgun clubs, they've usually got a sign saying that they only allow 7.5 and 8, right? So, that's optimal, not only for that, but small bird hunting as well. It's going to work. And let's be honest. I mean, the clay shooting stuff is practice in a sense for bird hunting. So it makes sense you would use a lot of the same stuff. Now, the smaller you get, like I said, you get into number 9, you get into number 12. A lot of that can be pest control type situation with that. But remember that the smaller you get with the shot, when you're talking about energy is you need velocity and you need mass, right? So the smaller you get, you're losing that mass. So that's why I say you want a big enough pellet that's going to have enough energy to break the clay, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of the thing. And that's where I said for pest control, if you're running off stray dogs or if you're just running off coyotes or whatever, you can shoot 9s, 12s, something like that. And oftentimes it would kill them if you land a good shot. Then as you move up the chain, you get into your number 4s, your number 6 and stuff like that. That's when you start getting into big bird. That's when you start, and I'm not talking about Sesame Street, near or far. I'm talking about
pheasant boys,
geese. I'm talking about geese and duck and things of that nature, right? But remember, when you're talking waterfowl, right? That's a different classification of bird, and then you got to go. You can't just get the normal lead shot.
He
says
you've got to go with some steel. You got to go with non-lead. Yeah, well, you get what I'm saying, though.
Just don't get caught.
Caught with it.
Yeah, that's where it gets real confusing because people are like, "Oh, it's steel." Well, not all steel is created equal. And then you have coated stuff. You got heavy metal. There's all kinds of things that get
copper coated lead is a big one that I see pretty often. But you can't have straight lead if you're shooting around water. Makes sense.
Start getting tungsten and all that.
We were talking about the different waterfowl shotguns and especially the goose guns. And I know Clover and Chase, you guys are big fans of goose guns. For someone out there that hears y'all talk about goose guns, what is the difference between a goose gun and a regular shotgun?
Chase?
I mean, generally goose guns, especially if you go where you can shoot snow geese, and
is it just a longer barrel? Is that basically the biggest difference?
That's definitely one of the things. I mean, most guys who shoot a goose gun are going to shoot at least a 28 or 30. There's a few 32s floating around. Most goose guns are 30-inch barrel though.
Yeah.
And places that don't have magazine restriction like you would on a normal waterfowl load, like on a snow goose, you can get away with like putting extended tubes on there. So you'll have guys within like these layout blinds with 10 or 12 shells, and they'll just start hammering geese as they fly over because it's a nuisance animal basically.
Well, and geese fly higher than duck.
Yeah. So generally it's a 3.5-inch load.
That's why
you're going to have to use a
really long double barrel 10 gauge for goose. That was a goose gun.
That'll do it too. Like all those old 10 gauges were really and truly made to kill geese.
That's what they were, Old
Churchill's. Remington, I forget the model, but had that old semi-auto like 3-shot 10-gauge goose gun.
And you had the Marlin bolts. You had the Marlin bolt action.
Like a mule too.
The
Marlins.
Bolt action 12 they called the goose, and their 10 gauge they called the super goose.
Yeah.
And both long barrels. I can't remember what the barrel length on mine are, but they're 30 plus for sure. They may even be 32 or 36.
I think they were 32s.
Which reminds me, when we're talking about barrel length on a shotgun, if you ever hear anybody reference a shotgun and they say it's a long tom, that's a 36 or greater barrel on that.
Wow! Holy cow!
Long tom. Yeah. And you don't really see those anymore. Those are old school. Usually those are antique, late 1800, early 1900 type shotguns, typically.
Yeah. I mean, generally on a shotgun, I prefer a longer barrel. I like 30s or 32s, and it's all about how you swing and point a shotgun. What Generally, shotguns don't matter after 22 inches, with a few exceptions, because at that point you've achieved the maximum velocity you're going to achieve out of
But
that
it's
round.
it's the weight, and it's the balance and the ability to
Yeah.
swing better. Yes, without a doubt.
You know,
Gotcha.
like that's why
Gotcha.
turkey guns are like generally 24, because you can sneak around the woods with them.
Mm.
You know, whereas field guns tend to be 26, 28, because that's what the average person points and shoots the best.
I got to worry about hanging it up on briars and other things.
No, you know, a 32-inch over under is not exactly what you want to be trying to, you know, run through a duck pond with.
I don't want to run through a duck pond regardless, so it is what it is.
Well, once you get to your duck, once you get to your blinds, as far as waterfowl go,
yeah,
it's not such a big deal. But turkey's a different situation.
Yeah, if you've never shot at ducks with over unders, you need to try it at least once.
I've never been hunting, and I don't have any desire to go hunting. Not that I'm against hunting. I have no desire. We were talking to TJ. I have no desire to get up at dark 30 to go walk through water to shoot birds.
No.
I have no desire to do that.
We'll discuss this later.
Yes, we will.
I got something for you. Don't worry.
Oh, I'm sure you do. Real quick, G23 $40 super chat, and this fucker knows that I'll have to read it. He says, for the men and women who are downrange, 10 millimeter is better than 9 millimeter, and 40 Smith & Wesson is king. I wanted to say that these super chats do not reflect the truth in the world. They do not reflect my true feelings, and this is fake news. But thank you for the super chat. Now, Guy out there says double-aught buck is 33, and number 8 bird is smaller than a BB. And he said number 5 bird upland is about the size of a BB or a bit bigger. And he says, I found nickel-plated double-aught buck the other day. So there you go. Awesome. Going an hour and 51 minutes. We're going to start kind of sweeping the floor and all of that. Before we do, Chase, TJ Clover, we don't have to plug our stuff right now, but is there anything that we need to talk about for the shotgun novice out there that we haven't talked about, or anything that you wanted to bring up before we start sweeping the floor?
Yep.
Go shoot a bunch of them.
Yeah, definitely. And remember, because you'll hear it a lot of times, and people go, well, that was just stupid that you don't aim with a shotgun. You don't.
No, you point.
You point with
shotgun. That's the biggest thing that when I started shooting them, that was the first thing that's told me. It says, look down over the front, the top of the barrel, and you kind of, like I said, point. And if you're aiming, then that's probably going to be your downfall.
You'll hear a lot of people go, what's your lead? How far you lead it, or how much you got pulled.
Right.
I have no clue. I'm looking at the bird.
Yep. Yeah. If your shotgun fits you, and if you mount it properly, mounting meaning get it up to your shoulder, get your cheek weld properly and consistently every time, that shotgun shoots exactly where you're looking. So all you got to do is watch the clays, throw the shotgun up, pull the trigger. Follow through is important, and that's one of the things I suck at is follow through. So that's
just like a golf swing or a bat swing.
Yeah, exactly.
If you don't follow through, you're going to suck.
Yeah. Yeah, you're definitely not going to be as good as you would be otherwise.
As you could be. I mean, will you still hit stuff? Absolutely. But are you going to be as good as you could be? No.
It's a totally different game. And I will tell you this. I did learn in working with a lot of kids with shotgun, we found out a lot of kids had vision problems. So if you get out there
like
and you
eyesight, like they
needed glasses. Yeah.
Oh,
wow. My youngest daughter, right, was like me. She sucked. And I thought, well, okay, it's just genetics, right? You're going to suck at shotgun because you're so. We were into precision rimfire, right? And it's such a different game. And I tried everything, including moving to the 28 gauge for the reason I said before. It cuts down the lead time and a lot of other things. Plus, it was unique for her. And I found that her having unique firearms and stuff helped her with like a confidence level and stuff a little bit.
Sure.
She had things that
absolutely.
were different. And so she really didn't do that much better with the 28, but I did notice a difference. And then we figured out, oh crap, she needs glasses. And like a week after she got glasses, she placed third in her first tournament. So,
wow.
So it is a big deal. I mean, you do need to be able to see, and that's where you get into, if you do sporting clays, there are glasses out there that, and I get you, not the 99-cent ones from Harbor Freight or the $10 ones at Walmart, but you know, if you're serious about upping your game and sporting clays and stuff, there are glasses out there that will literally make the clay glow, and so seeing it is not a problem.
Yep, awesome. Before we get out of here, I want to bring TJ in, and TJ, obviously you do a lot of reviews and writing for Gear Report with Clover and I, but you are the vice president, the executive vice president. I'm giving you a promotion.
Ooh.
The executive vice president of snacks and beverages.
Yes,
no longer the director. You're the executive vice president.
Ooh,
so
all right. Send Jeff an
but
email.
what you got going on for Gear? I will. I don't think he listens to me, but I'll try. But no, as far as Gear Report and all that, what you got going on? I know you got a bunch of stuff in the review queue, but tell people where they can find in the next month or so from you.
Oh, I mean, I've got the what have I got coming up? I've got the Saltwater Arms Barracuda coming up, the Wolfpack Armory CSR 556 coming up, and I got the DVG 1 from Sky. You all right, buddy? and the DV9 from Diamondback. So I get a couple little small pistols coming up and a couple ARs, and then no shotguns though.
Ghost just
Crazy.
Waterboarded himself. I've never seen that.
I did just waterboard myself. Holy shit! Whoo! Yeah, it's not fun.
I was worried for a second. I was like, oh, there he goes. If he goes down, I don't know what to do.
Clover would have known. Clover would have taken care of it. Holy shit! Yeah, I did waterboard myself. That's whew.
That's why I drink beer.
Okay, there we go.
That doesn't happen with beer.
No, it doesn't. It happens only with water. I don't know why. I don't know. I would bring Chase in real quick and talk a little bit about EAA, what you guys are got coming out pretty soon, or gonna be, or maybe if you can give some hints of what's coming down the line, or what's your big items, hot items are right now.
Well, I mean, obviously we're getting in that time of year where the topic of tonight, shotguns are coming in, so that season's are really about to start ramp up. We've got a lot of options there. Like we talked about before, 312s are fantastic options for somebody looking for a really good semi-auto shotgun. Definitely take the 312 as a look. As far as like the new hotness, beginning of next month, the new P35, the match and the ops will be in consumer hands. They're all starting to move, so the cool gun everybody's freaking out about NRA, they are on the move, so they'll actually be out in the wild. I know somebody's happy over there. He's got one to play with right now.
Stand by.
See? And we've got a couple cool things we're working on. I can't talk too much about now.
I actually had it right here already, ready to go and on display.
See, there you go. That is the ops. So that is our enhanced high power. Don't call it a classic, man. That's like our resto mod. Did everything you want to do to a classic. Flat trigger, no mag disconnect, rail,
so
beaver
nice.
tail, flared magwell, fiber optic front side, adjustable rear. That's where it's at.
That one doesn't have the rail though, right?
This is
the match.
Match.
Yeah, the match.
Yeah,
the ops is the one that has the rail on it. Yeah,
rail.
You've got a gun tray with no rail.
I do.
I know.
Oh, he's such a fud.
I
I'm
know.
telling you, I'm not gonna lie.
Hey, I only had like 3 of each. Beggars can't be choosers.
Right.
No, but this thing is bad. I tell you what, I'm really the biggest thing so far that I shot it is the trigger. I've loved flat triggers on ARs for a long time. I've always kind of liked the curved triggers on handguns, but in the last couple of years, the more and more I've pulled flat triggers on handguns, man, they're just it's so good. But this is what I love about this is it's an all steel frame. It's not polymer. It's steel. It's got a little bit of weight, but it's not heavy. But
everybody asks if that's alloy, and it's not. It's
steel. It's amazing. And it's not you think. Like I said, it's got a little weight to it, but that's not a bad thing. But it's not as heavy as you think it's going to be when you think, oh, it's an all steel, high power. This thing is great. The grips are. I mean, yeah. So far, I've got a video out there, so go check it out. I'm going to be hopefully getting to the range this week and doing some more shooting with this, and probably even put this through the crucible here pretty soon. But no, so far it is a beautiful, beautiful handgun for sure. So check that out. Thank you, Chase, by the way.
Yeah, man. And we've got, like I was telling them before you ran off, I've got a couple of other really interesting, really cool things coming that I can't quite talk about just yet. But by the end of the year, hopefully I'll have one out in October just in time for the big wholesale shows and meetings. And so that'll go public around October-ish, and then by the end of the year SHOT Show I'll have another really cool toy or two.
So real quick before I can't let this go, the Navy guy's talking about choking on something. Seriously, that's all I'm gonna say. The squids, they really. Now G23 wants to know about the P35. Is that going to be available in 10 millimeter? Or the inferior caliber, the 40 down there.
Well, nobody wants a 40 short and weak anymore, so that doesn't matter.
Right?
Oh, God,
I would say a high power 10 would be pretty cool.
Oh man!
So I have really been like toying, like pushing those guys. I was like, and it's all in the frame geometry and making it work.
Yeah.
Like, some people want 38 Super in it, believe it or not. But 10 millimeter would be cool.
Oh, 38 Super would be kind of cool too, though.
Oh, dude, a gold 38 Super. Come on.
How's the Miami Vice gun coming?
I actually had a customer interested in that gun.
That's awesome. I'm not gonna lie. We need to add TJ to our group text message chat that. We throw different paint schemes on different guns, just mostly as jokes, and then every now and then one will pop up, and we're like, oh. And he came up with a Miami Vice paint scheme. It is pretty badass. I'll have to forward that to TJ for sure. Let's see here if I can find it. I can probably. That is scroll. That's way back.
Yeah.
That was way back.
I can send it to you again.
No, I've got it. I just got it. Yeah. It's way back in these messages.
Hey, it would for sure match the plate carriers. I'm just saying.
No doubt.
That's a white Rhino gun.
Hell yeah, it is.
That's a white Rhino plate carrier.
Here we go. I don't know if you. It's white. Like that teal, blue, and pink.
Oh yeah, yep, perfect.
White grips.
The Miami Vice. It's pretty sharp.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Clove, I if you were to do something, and I know that's a big stretch, but if you were to create some kind of content or do anything. What would some of that be?
Well, I would probably do a walkthrough of my personal range bag, and I would probably have released that video, I don't know, about 2.5 hours ago at this point. Actually, more like 3.5 hours ago at this point. So, go check that one out.
You got any cool podcasts coming up anytime soon?
I don't. I mean, we're going out of town here, next weekend, I think, end of this month. We're going to be spending a few days on the road, personal stuff. And then once I get back from that, I'm going to hopefully try to get some stuff scheduled out and pick back up on that for sure.
I know at one point early in the year you were talking, I don't want to spread any rumors or anything, one of your favorite, I think one of the favorite podcasts you have from a lot of people is the youth shooting sport podcast that you had. And I know at one point you were talking about bringing that back. Is there going to be another season of that maybe next year or anything?
So I've been working on that. COVID just put the kibosh on that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like big time. And I just have not been able to recover. I mean, there's still kids that aren't back in school correctly and distance, and it's still crazy world.
They may
out there,
never
so.
get back to school.
I know.
That's
and
weird.
so make no mistake, all the events that I've made this year so far, I have talked with people about, trying to get that back going and everything else. And, I'm working on that. I want that to happen for sure. So we'll try to get a couple more, hopefully at least one more season. We'll take it one season at a time with it if that's what we got to do, but get some more. But yeah, if that's going to happen, that typically is going to happen late summer, early fall in the year is the right time to make that happen as far as scheduling for those folks.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks TJ, Clover, Chase for coming on. It's been a fun talk. I haven't broken out yet. I've got a little bit of rash, but I haven't broken out in hives. I did take some pretty heavy duty Benadryl and some calamine lotion to prevent the hives. But I think it's been a fun discussion, especially for some people out there that are thinking about shotguns. A lot of great information was passed on from these guys. I am very much of a I'm not a newbie, but I'm a novice when it comes to shotguns. I have several, but they're 12 gauge. I don't hunt with them. I don't shoot or trap. Literally go to the range and, if I need them for home defense or whatever. So I learned a lot as well as here. So if you're out there in the live chat, thank you for sticking around for 2 hours. Great questions, great comments out there. If you're watching this in replay or listening to this in podcast, the conversation does not have to stop. Utilize the comment section. If you have any questions that you want answered, if I can't answer them, one of these guys can, and I'll make sure that these questions get to the appropriate people, and we'll get the answers for you. But if you're out there, I hope you enjoy this chat. I hope it brought a little bit of entertainment to you, but also a little bit of education, as we say, to your life. So thank you so much for joining us. We will see you next week. Until then, Semper Fi.